All right. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of The Kingdom of the Kael Isles. Yes, this is my custom D&D campaign that I run twice a month with some really awesome, amazing, lovely peoples. Um, we do have one person that is missing tonight. Song is unfortunately, or the person that plays Song is unfortunately busy with something else. So she will just kind of be a background character this week, and will be hopefully back for the next episode, seeing as there's so much happening. Um, Obviously, we still have the amazing group of adventurers to kind of bring you guys up to speed on what's been going on. Um, they most recently came after getting stranded on a desert island, meeting some spiders that were kind of cool, uh, and escaping from that desert island. They came to a port town that was really, really weird. While they were there, they realized that all of the people that were kind of manning the docks were undead, and that at least a couple of them had the same brand as one of the party members. So they decided to investigate a little bit further where these bodies came from and everything, and they found themselves a very vocal and very interesting, let's say, tiefling by the name of Song. Song had been captured and had been experimented upon while she had been there. And so she came along to find her belongings that had been taken from her and kind of figure out exactly what's happened, because her memory right now is a little bit like Swiss cheese. Um, the rest of the group, you guys were able to go into kind of like a manor house. Unfortunately, they met with a magical trap that sent a helmed horror against them that almost destroyed the party. That Fade decided to set off. And now, after they did that, they realized that the manor house was actually the front of a small, like, city-sized keep with various different areas that they could go explore. They ventured down into the main portion of the keep into kind of like a central little village area, found most of the place deserted. They went into a tavern and found that no one had been in there for a very long time. And while they were in there, some undead creatures went past and went to a lower area that just had rows upon rows of these kind of makeshift buildings. They went to investigate these buildings and saw that they were populated by these undead creatures that are pretty just not fun in general to deal with. Song started up some communication while Fade was doing his cool detect magic shit. Um, and they were able to find out that apparently there is some force that is compelling them to do things, and that these undead, unlike regular undead, actually remember their former lives and have uh, a sense of self that is not normal in your regular run-of-the-mill undead. After finding this out, they got kind of accosted by a scry spell and decided that it was in their best interest to get the hell out of there, which they did. They ran and found their way into a building, and then Elaine, being the brilliant rogue that he is, fell and found a little secret place, and then they used some illusion and stuff like that to hide from these things. And yeah, towards the end of it, Song started remembering a few more things from her captivity, specifically the word revenant, which Fade recognized as very high level necromantic magic used to bring back specific people for a very specific purpose. However, the undead that he's seen here are not quite reacting the way he would expect a revenant to work. So while it may be based on that magic, obviously there is something more at work here. So now to get back into the story. You guys have been able to take a long rest. Because of how you kind of constructed your hideout, you haven't really had to worry about anyone coming by because you were able to kind of fill up the hole with, I think it was a mending spell that you guys used to repair the stairs. And that's an interesting sound. So, for those of you wondering, that's what's known as feedback, and, and hopefully we'll get that fixed in a little bit. So that was fun. Anyway, so yeah, you guys were able to get a full rest, and now that the day is kind of coming anew, what do you guys want to do? You mentioned last week trying to find out a little bit more, maybe capturing one of these things to find out a little bit more about what makes them tick. We can't hear you, Fade. You look muted. So for the rest of the day,
just speak to us in sign language.
Speaking almost entirely in sign language. Fade will be back momentarily. How about Avok and Elaine? Let's see.
Just trying to remember. Pretty much, we were pretty much in this like little basement-like room. Yeah, sort of pitch black. I mean, although someone lit a light or something. I don't know.
Yeah, there's technically no light in there because it wasn't technically designed to do anything. It's a basement that was never utilized, so they just dug out the foundation and built the house over it.
It was an empty hole that was never meant to be found, and I found it. I'm good at finding things, okay?
Yeah,
right.
I mean, you got mad skills in that falling on things to find them.
Hey,
yeah, I
should get some kind of like extra feat because I survived falls and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it was impressive. I'm not gonna say it wasn't.
Like my second story work should like push toward falling down holes as well, and not just climbing. That'd be nice. No, but.
So, yeah, you guys, as soon as we get Fade back here, what do you guys want to do? Let's see if Fade is returned.
I want to kill everything.
You want to kill everything? Okay, we can hear you now. You're kind of soft,
We
though.
can do that.
Can you boost the recording volume a little bit? And now you're muted.
No, I heard something.
It's just still low.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, when we did sound check, folks, there were no issues. It's all the audience's fault.
Yeah. Don't blame them, they'll leave.
That's it. Great way to keep an audience.
We're not blaming you. We're just...
We are. Like, they aren't. I am.
When we're blaming the zombies, it's all their fault. They scared the literal crap out of the headset.
So, Fade will be back, but Avok and Elaine, what would you guys like to do?
All right, I'm just trying to get my bearings here. Unless there's a light source I can't see because I'm human.
Did you get your stuff back?
You guys would have like torches and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Right.
I
did get my stuff back. That's right.
Because if you don't have anything, I can give you something.
I got a bunch of torches. I can just light a torch. So I light the torch.
Big empty room.
Big empty room. Did I write what my pack had in it?
And our only way out was pretty much
the hole I made.
Yeah, which
unless you make a new way out. I mean, you've got dirt walls and a wood roof.
I could fall up. I don't know how that works.
There's a spell called Reverse Gravity.
Oh, is there?
It generally does not do well for the one getting reversed.
I wonder if my spiritual weapon spell would allow me to make a spiritual shovel and have it start digging while I sit back.
Oh wait, hold on. I might. Oh no, that's the
Shovels
other
can be
guy.
used as
Wow.
weapon.
It's an
You know what?
improvised weapon.
Generally, I probably wouldn't, since it's spiritual weapon, I probably wouldn't be able to let you use a shovel. But a pickaxe is a weapon.
I only know that is true.
I think pickaxe and my shield as a spade would be a great deal. That's what I'm going with.
I think it's very possible if you want to use it in that particular way. I think it would work
A
very
hand
well.
axe or a war pick.
Yeah.
Technically.
So we need to get out of here, and I need to do it quietly. So I'm
Mhm.
going to use my spiritual weapon to slowly go start attacking the wall, and then I'll use my the bottom of my shield to kind of pull the dirt away and
Yeah, not a problem.
make us a path.
How long does spiritual weapon last again?
Spiritual weapon is 1 minute.
1 minute. All right. So, 1 minute of digging time is not a ton to do it carefully. With a pick and the fact that this is just dirt. It's not reinforced or anything like that. You could probably dig yourself a very, very short tunnel to the surface because you're only going about 10 feet up.
Yeah.
Without too much difficulty.
Let's start that. We're gonna head. Well, I don't know what direction is which right now because I kind of just fell down through some stairs. So
I fell down through some stairs.
which way do you guys think?
Fell.
Oh, I don't even remember. We ran
Uh,
east or
The
north?
stairs were
I don't
at
think
the
we went-
back of the house. So right now, technically, cardinal directions don't really mean a whole lot because you guys
Yeah.
can't see the sun and don't have a compass. But
So
Yeah, we
I'm
just
going
get
to
outside.
go
the side with
away
the stairs.
from the stairs.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you want to basically dig to the front of the house. Easy
Yeah.
enough.
So
you guys-
I'll do that as best I can, and then just once my spiritual weaponness goes away, I'll just use the shovel and try to hoof it.
So you guys see Fade kind of reach underneath his armor, and you see kind of this indigo glow come from where you know that he keeps his holy symbol, and then you see out of the ether, you see magical energy start coalescing, and it forms into this very scythe-like pick, and just starts hacking away at the wall. And after about a minute, the pick itself starts to dissolve away, and you see it's carved a very rough tunnel to the surface. You guys can see daylight coming through it. It's just barely 5 feet wide. So you can, get out it, but there's no possible way for anyone to go more than one at a time. So,
all right, I'll go first.
okay.
Check it out.
So, Avok, you kind of climb out. You stumble a little bit as you go through because, again, it's not the greatest tunnel in the world. So, dirt and rocks and stuff like that fall off. But you get, you do get out. And as you step out, you're greeted with a very similar view as to when you guys first entered this area, which is just lines and rows upon rows of these makeshift buildings and no creatures in sight.
Okay, that's good news. Okay, I shot down to him. It's all clear here.
I'll go up next.
So, Elaine, you have similarly very little trouble climbing up and coming out into the morning sun.
I make the same effort. I'd like to
You,
get
on
out
the
of
other
here.
hand, just fail miserably. No, you make it up too. You're everybody is up, and again, you guys aren't really seeing anything out there beyond what you saw the first time you came in, which is just lots of these very bizarre-looking makeshift buildings.
Can I climb up on one and look around? See where we are?
If
Proportion
you'd
to
like to, they're
buildings we
about
know.
10 foot high, and they don't have any handholds or anything like that. So, in order to get up there, you're going to have to make an acrobatics check, because they're literally just these square like block type things.
8.
So you guys see Elaine go over to one of the buildings and just kind of take like a running leap at it and face plant, and then hit the ground and kind of try to roll it off like I meant to do that.
I'm just waking up, guys. I got this. I got this.
If anyone would like, they can give him a hand.
Would you like a boost?
I would appreciate it.
I boost Elaine up.
All right, Avok, go ahead and make me a athletics check.
No problem. Ooh, I like that.
I know how to fall, but I can't climb.
That's 21.
All right, yeah. Elaine, you don't even need to make an acrobatics check now. He hoists you up, and you have very little difficulty getting up on this building. Again, you're only about 10 feet higher than the rest of your group, so you can survey a little bit more. What you can see from up there is you can see buildings very similar to the one that you guys just came out of. In various places, it looks like before these like square huts were put in, that this was probably either farmland or like just a residential area, because you can see various larger buildings that look kind of untouched in different places that would kind of map out some sort of rural area where people lived. And you can see these large expanses between these regular houses have just been filled with these square, nondescript box-like buildings. Now that you're on top of it, you kind of look, and you can see that the building itself kind of looks to be made of like very, very strong mud or something like maybe clay or something like that. Something very, very simple. As you kind of stand on it, you realize it's not the most structurally sound thing in the world. You get the idea that these were not meant to really provide much protection against the elements or anything like that. They're just more holding pens than anything else.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and get down off of it
All right.
before I fall through.
Again, not incredibly difficult for you to do. Since it's only 10 foot down, you can just plop down without too much difficulty.
Couldn't see a lot of anything.
One thing that I forgot to mention when you're up there was a larger building towards the back that looked very similar to the small ones, except for the fact that it was much bigger, closer to about 30 to 40 feet high, and had a little bit more of like a sloped roof instead of just the big boxes with doors in them.
Except for this one big building.
I was like, I kind of forgot to mention that, but that's there too.
So we could go that way, or we could just wander in some direction until we find something different. Because most of the houses around here all look the same, besides that one.
Well, big building seems different to me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, besides. But I think we should probably head that way first.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
All right.
Onward.
What? Oh, onward.
Onward.
And Song kind of trails behind you guys, still visibly shaken from the experience she had the night before. How do you guys want to get to this building? Just like walking straight down the road? Do you want to take more alleyways? Do you want to check a couple of houses to see if you can find one of those zombie things to, inspect? What do you guys want to do?
wherever or whatever we do, we need to do it stealthily.
Oh, good.
The cleric in heavy armor.
I figured not. Wait,
I mean,
you?
unless you want to walk around with daylight on your shield.
Um, I think we need to search these hovels. I need more information. My curiosity and my need for answers is pretty strong right now. I'm gonna go walk towards one of the huts as quietly as I can, as stealthily as I can.
Again, since there's no one here, you don't really have to worry about too much until you get close to a particular hut. So go ahead and roll me a stealth check.
That's a 3 plus 3. That's a 6, buddy.
All right, so you think you're being stealthy. The rest of you guys watch him sit there, collop.
Fade. Okay.
Remarkably enough, it doesn't seem that there's any issues getting there. You don't see anyone coming at you. The nearest building that you're able to get to, other than the one that Elaine was standing on, is about 20 feet away, so not very far. And you're able to kind of peer in. This is one of the ones that doesn't have like a curtain or anything. It's just an open building. And inside you see 3 of those undead creatures. 2 are just lying down, eyes open, but just lying down. And 1 is sitting on one of those slabs that you saw in the other buildings.
I walk away and try to find one that doesn't have as many.
Okay, go ahead and make me a. Let's go investigation check.
I'm fine with that one. 16.
16. So you go basically from building to building, trying to find one that has less people in it. As you go, you notice that the lowest you've seen in any of these buildings that have some, there are some that have nothing in them whatsoever, other than just the blank slabs with nothing on them. But the lowest you've seen any of the buildings have is 2.
Okay. Once I locate the first or second building that is 2, I walk back out and see if they're with me. I'm not going to charge myself,
Okay.
but I want to go in. I think we need to.
I'm following.
Okay.
All right. We need to ambush one, kill it right away, and then try to restrain the other.
All right. So how would you guys like to pull that off? Helps if I have the right book. I have my player's handbook out, and that's not going to really help me in this particular situation.
I mean, it totally could, They could all have 1 HP, one in all stats.
Instead of fiddling with the weak or punks, why don't we go and find my brother for one thing?
I know he's mad at me for talking to Corin.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to defer, and I will follow his lead, I guess, because I don't want to go against Avok right now. I know he's pissed.
What is he not?
Badass guy.
Only emotion at the moment.
Yeah. I'm
So-
calculating my chances without him, and they're not good.
So, Avok, when you say that, kind of a hush runs over the party. Fade, you see, kind of just bows his head and looks to you with a knowing expression, kind of giving you the idea of lead on. So, what would you like to do?
All right, well, why don't we go to that big building that Elaine spotted? Because I have a feeling that if the strong usually like to be in big things, so
So what he's saying is size does matter, guys.
Yep.
yeah, I got pretty much.
Welcome to our Valentine's Day episode, folks.
2 days late, but
So the building itself is significantly further away. Again, this whole area is the size of like a small village. So it'll take you probably close to 20 to 30 minutes to get there, going through all these different buildings and are going past all these different buildings with undead in them. Are there any particular precautions you guys want to take on your way there?
Nobody say the D word, okay?
I knowingly look at him and say, "Understood," and then I quietly cast false life on myself.
Okay. All right. So, you guys see Fade again. He reaches under his armor, clutches his holy symbol. You see that kind of indigo glow, and you notice that he himself starts to give off a very, very faint, kind of light bluish white glow from behind his eyes. Nothing that would even light a 5 foot square, but enough to notice that there's something slightly different about him.
That's it.
All right.
could you glow any brighter?
I step behind Elaine.
I don't know what you want me to do, Ed.
The half elf is going to protect you. Gotcha.
Yeah. You lead the way, Avok. I'll follow.
Let's go.
All right. So, as you guys are going, you pass by quite a few of these buildings. I would like everybody to go ahead and roll perception checks for me.
17.
All right.
18.
What was that, Fade?
6.
18.
Okay. And then Elaine?
6.
All right, so Elaine is
Still
really
waking up.
preoccupied with, making sure the ground is still there. However, Avok and Fade, after you guys have been traveling for about 10 minutes, you both hear what sounds like movement. And a little bit further ahead of you, you guys can hear that someone is, or something, is coming around one of the corners. You can't really tell exactly how many, but it sounds like at least a few creatures are going to be rounding one of the corners very quickly here. What would you like to do?
Is there a alleyway that we can duck into?
There are alleyways everywhere. You are basically on a grid. So every like 15 feet, there's an alley.
All
Is the
right.
ground still beneath my feet?
You're fairly certain it is. You're not 100%.
All right. Hearing the commotion come up ahead, I motion to everybody to duck into the alleyway. And as soon as everybody is in, I want to peek around the corner so I can get a
Okay.
good look at.
I need stealth checks from everybody. See how stealthy you can all be.
What the fuck?
14.
All right.
Matter. I rolled a 1.
Oh dear God, no!
I got a 15.
All right.
The ground is
both
not
Avok
fair,
and
guys.
Fade dive
It's
behind.
not fair.
Dive behind the wall very quickly. You notice Elaine is still just focusing on the floor, and so
Like,
Fade just reaches out, grabs him by the back of the scruff, and pulls him back, and he lets out a slight as he goes back. Avok, as you're peering around, it doesn't seem like they noticed the very brief sound that Elaine made, and as you're kind of watching, you notice 3 of these undead creatures around the corner. From your kind of military training, one of the things that you find a little bit weird about it is that they're walking in step. All of their feet hit the ground at the exact same time, and they move not really with precision. Like they're still kind of, moving a little bit erratic that you would expect from undead in general. But
Sloppy
they're
goose step.
what?
Sloppy goose step.
Not really goose step. They're just their feet hit the ground at the same time.
Hmm.
Yeah, they're not really what you would consider military trained or anything, but it is a little bit weird that their footfalls are matching almost perfectly. There's a little bit of variation, but not by much. As you guys kind of hide back there, you see them come off, and then they kind of split into two groups. One goes into a building that's about two buildings down from you on the left-hand side. The other two go into buildings that are the opposite building, three buildings down on the right side. And after a little bit, silence falls again.
Okay, I think it's clear. If just going by what we've seen so far, but they may have just gone into those things to do what they've been doing, just sleeping, I guess. So hopefully, as long as we're still pretty quiet, we won't attract too much attention.
Fine with me. Let's keep moving. We have a goal now.
All
Elaine,
right.
you still on your feet?
I think so.
Fair enough.
Ground's still there as well, Elaine.
Can I ride on your back, Avok? I'm not too sure about this ground anymore. I don't trust it.
So, do you guys want to continue forward then, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
All right, so you guys continue forward again without too much difficulty. That was really the only movement you've really seen. As you're passing by the house on the left where only the single creature went, Fade, you just kind of absentmindedly glance in there, and you realize that that creature is the only one in that particular building right now.
Oh boy. I say hold on, and I just go in. I try to get it. I try to restrain it.
Oh, God.
Well, I
Okay.
grab him. I quickly grab him.
So as Fade goes, sees it, you kind of see a flash in his eyes. You see him go in. Avok, go ahead and make a athletics check. Fade, are you going to are you going to fight him, or are you going to let him just kind of grab you back?
No,
10.
I would go in, but if he grabs me, he grabs me. That's
Okay.
fine.
I
So
rolled a
Avok
10.
reaches out as quickly as he can and kind of tries to pull you back. You don't feel a whole lot of pull to the point where you know that he has a hand on your arm, but it's not strong enough to stop you at all.
I
What
just
would you
look
like
at
to
him
do?
and I'm just like, one.
Don't be fucking stupid.
That's fine. If he's still holding on, I stop my effort.
Actually, I think he slipped through my grasp or something.
Yeah. So as you kind of turn back, still a little bit obsessed with this, his hand falls off, but you hear him, mutter under his breath, "Don't be fucking stupid."
I don't even acknowledge him. I just turn and walk towards the large building again.
Okay.
Now I look indignant.
Yeah. Indignation is your friend.
Right.
So,
I have my hand on the hilt of my great sword just to be
Okay.
prepped.
You guys are able to make it to the large building without any other interruptions. Fade, your just kind of preoccupation with these things makes you, like every single building you walk past, you steal a glance just to see. And as you're going, you've kind of been looking in the back, and you realize the building that you guys that had only that single one in it. As you guys go further, Fade kind of glances back, and you see another creature just kind of wandering in, or another group of three wandering in, completely oblivious to you guys whatsoever. because you're so far away. And you see probably about 5 minutes after you guys are past it, this other creature goes in to join it. So now that one area that had only one thing now is no longer there, and it has three creatures in it now. So
Noted.
you guys make it up to this large building. You notice that this building, as much as from the outside looks very similar, there are a few very noticeable differences. The first of which being, other than its size, being the fact that it has doors, and very sturdy metal doors.
I look around. Is there anyone on guard that I can see?
You see nothing here, but the closer you've gotten to this building, you start feeling that kind of tingling of necromantic magic has been getting stronger the closer you've gotten to this building.
I think he's in there. I'm getting some pings on the magic side of things, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, that's great. Your magic radar works.
So the doors themselves are about, again, the building itself is between about 30 to 40 feet, depending on where you're looking at the sloping roof. The doors themselves are about, it's a set of double doors. They're made of what you assume is iron, very, very heavy, and they are about 15 feet tall and about 10 foot wide.
And probably
Oh,
kick resistant. Probably kick resistant.
Well, it's an iron door, you know?
Yeah,
You could totally nat 20 it.
I could. But I think this is where your set of skills come in.
Okay.
Okay. I would like to unlock the door, see if it's locked.
All right, so you go to the door itself, and you don't see a locking mechanism on it.
Is there like a way to open the door?
Yeah, you do see two. You don't see anything on this side, but you also don't see hinges on this side, giving you the idea that it's quite possible that they open inward.
Oh. So we push.
It's
Do it.
possible.
I think we
Go
should
on.
push these open.
See what's in there.
So as Elaine
Sir.
sits there, you see him kind of go up to one of the doors, and he kind of fiddles around for a little bit, realizes there's no lock, looks around, and then just kind of shrugs and starts pushing. Elaine, as you start pushing, you realize that normally on very large doors like this, they would be counterweighted so that it wouldn't take a ton of effort to open them, because your average human would have a hard time, or average humanoid would have a hard time opening really heavy doors like this. You notice that these doors are not counterweighted. They're incredibly heavy. So I'd like you to make an athletics check for me.
Today's a good day. I rolled a 9.
So you guys see Elaine kind of go up, and he pushes a little bit more, and you see him just kind of throw his shoulder into this door, and it moves just barely about half an inch in.
Hey guys, you know what I thought? What if there's no floor behind these doors? Hey Rocky, can you push these open? I don't want.
Avok
No.
face palms.
I swear I'm a rogue, guys.
Okay, well, you did a good job, so allow me. Athletics check.
Yep, go for it.
That is a 21.
All right, so after Elaine sat there trying to do it, Avok comes over, and he pushes his hand to get it, thinking that this would be super easy. And as he starts to push, you realize how incredibly heavy these doors are. And so at first you push and nothing happens. And then you throw a little bit more weight, and you can feel them start giving, and you just slam your other hand into it, and it slowly, one of the doors opens. As the door opens, your eye is caught uh, by the light kind of spilling into this room. You realize that the room itself is either not lit at all or lit very, very dimly, because the daylight is in stark contrast to the rest of the room. As the light kind of spills in with the door opening, you watch it dance across the floor, and you watch the room itself slowly begin to brighten as the light reflects off different surfaces to light the room a little bit better. You realize that the building itself is one giant room. There aren't extra floors, there aren't anything else, it's just a giant room. However, with only one of the doors open, you actually can't see far enough to see the back of it. You can only see about 30 feet into the room with this single door open. What you can see in the room is a whole lot of nothing right now. You can see on the walls themselves are relatively plain. Every so often you'll see a gadget of some sort that will either glow dimly or will move or something like that. Obviously arcane in nature. You have no idea what any of them do. Fade, you are still outside.
I'm waiting.
Okay, I
Could I see any better than he can?
probably.
Not by a whole lot. Like I said, the room itself is really, really big. You have dark vision, correct?
Yes.
You can see a little bit further than the light shows. You notice that the room itself goes further back than even your dark vision can see. You do see, again, lining the walls, the further back you get, the more you see these bizarre objects. You have no idea what any of them do. Some of them glow. Some of them have gems and jewels encrusted in them, or things that at least look like that. Some of them have a much more alchemical view to them, where you see like fluids and things going through tubes. But again, the room is so vast that you can't actually see the back of it.
Fade. There's a lot of shiny stuff in here that I kind of want to take, but it might be magical.
I walk up and try to push the other door open.
Give me
All
an
the way.
athletics check.
Yep. 22.
Wow.
The heck?
So you come up and you experience the same thing that Avok did. Is as soon as you push your hand against it, this is an insanely heavy door. But you throw your full weight behind it, and you're able to open it to the point where it actually swings back on itself, and you have a complete clear line. Your eyes kind of follow the light as it traces through this area, and as you come in, you see a relatively familiar sight. You see arcane instruments used to increase magical awareness, kind of similar to like a detect magic spell, but much more built around the idea that they will amplify your ability to detect magic and things like that. Not so much that they detect magic themselves. You also see quite a few different contraptions that you're very used to seeing that are used to distill different chemicals that are used in modifying and preserving dead tissue and things like that. The light itself spills even further in, and it finally gets to the point where it's about the light from reflections and everything goes to about 70 feet. And as it spills to this last 70 feet beyond what Elaine could see before with his dark vision, you notice something very bizarre. You see the base of what looks like a massive slab or table or something similar to that. You can see these items that you're familiar with that are used to kind of improve magical detection abilities are all over the base of this slab or table or whatever it is. And you can also see that there are tubes and pipes and things running into this. You can't see the top of the table, but you notice that it goes up a good 15 feet. With the lighting the way it is, you can't see what's on top of it because it's just not illuminated yet.
Okay. After just taking a sec to observe everything, I just say, "Well, I think we found his laboratory," and I saunter over to the right wall, whatever wall is on my right side, and see if I
Okay.
can not so much attune, but like familiarize myself with one of these things that might help me.
As you look at them, you notice that they are slightly different than the ones that you're familiar with. The items that are generally that you were expecting are ones that basically amplify a detect magic spell to the point where it's easier to cast, almost to the point of being a cantrip, and can detect finer aspects of magic, whereas detect magic, the spell itself, is a little bit kind of vague. These items allow you to focus it kind of like a magical microscope or magical
I like
magnifying glass.
the precision instruments. Gotcha.
You notice that these, though, seem to be backwards, as opposed to allowing you to focus on smaller, more distinct magical things. They look like they are more for amplification of something, and it's in a configuration that you've never seen before.
Okay. Well, I'm going to walk up to Avok and say, "Keep your eyes open for your brother, but I think this could help us survive this ordeal." And I'm going to go over there and try to do some investigation or arcana checks to reverse engineer, see if I can get something usable out of one of these things.
Uh, sure. Go ahead and roll me an Arcana check.
Not good. 7.
You're looking at it, you can't really tell how it's been changed. Again, you're familiar with the overall device, but it's been modified heavily to the point where you can't really tell how it was modified beyond the fact that it seems to be working backwards to the way that it normally does.
Okay. Well, I'd like to pick the one up that I've been looking at and just kind of throw it
They're
throw it on my
actually
belt.
they're actually built into the kind of wall and desk that they're at. They're large items. They're not really handheld.
Okay.
Again, they're designed to work in conjunction with a detect magic spell.
Okay.
Is what it is. Think of it
Well,
kind of like a box that helps you turn your detect magic into a magnifying glass. If that makes
okay.
sense.
It does. I think I've discerned what one of the purposes of this room is,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know if I want to share that information because I don't think it's prudent.
Okay,
Prudent right now.
that's fine.
So I'm just gonna walk around and see, just kind of check everything out.
Okay. Since you've been in here, the necromantic magic, you can tell that this is the strongest point of necromantic energy in the entire place. It's just suffused around you. As you walk around and view a little bit more, make me a perception check real quick.
17.
As you're walking around, you start moving, and you have dark vision, correct?
I do.
Okay. So as you walk around, you start moving and just kind of looking at all the different devices and things like that, and the alchemical supplies. And as you get closer to this very large table, something, a movement catches your eye, and you look over, and on top of this table is an incredibly large form. And as you look a little bit closer, you realize the thing that caught your eyes is this incredibly large form has started to move.
Hey
And
guys.
as he says that, Avok and Elaine, you guys see, because you can see the base of this table, you guys see a large bare foot slam onto the ground in front of this table, and you hear this very loud. And then you see another foot slam onto the ground. Fade, since you're a little bit closer, you can see this large creature swing its legs over the side and slowly stand up. As you look at it, you notice that the skin tone of this creature is the most bizarre thing you've ever seen. It's almost patchwork. You have some things that look light colored and some things that look dark colored. You can see stitch marks all over this creature. And you also notice, Fade, since you're closest, you notice that a few of these items that amplify detect magic spells are connected via. The closest thing you could come up with is like metal rope, are connected to this creature. And obviously seem to be interacting with it in some way. The creature itself starts to stand up, and as it does that, you notice that the necromantic energy in the area starts to pulse to the point where you're starting to feel it almost like a heartbeat in your ears. And as
Okay.
this creature stands up fully, you notice that these metal ropes that have been attaching it break off. And it kind of looks at you guys and then gives this unbearably loud "Roar!" And I'd like everyone to roll for initiative.
Hey guys, I found another thing to kill us.
Yeah, we noticed.
No kidding.
21.
And I know what it is. Well, as a player, I know what it is.
All right, Avok, what do you got?
7.
All right,
One day I'll roll
Fade
good.
21.
and Elaine.
Math. 14.
All right, and I should probably roll for this
not-
guy. Wow, I'm rolling like I normally do. That's awesome.
Good.
That can either mean he goes after me or before me.
Hopefully after.
You guys would like that,
Mostly.
wouldn't you?
Yes.
Eh,
Always. You know, unless you're a healer. I mean,
Wow, I rolled the exact same number. That's really funny. All right, so as this giant monstrosity, pieced together with God knows what, gets up, Fade, you are up first. What would you like to do?
So I'm right next to this thing as it's stepping down.
No, you're still probably about 40 feet back.
Okay.
It woke up long before you got right next to it.
All right. Well, then I throw a magical warhammer right at its feet and have it start trying to take its kneecaps out using my spiritual weapon spell.
Okay. Go ahead and roll an attack for that.
20. Yeah, buddy. Not natural.
20 is definitely a hit.
What is it? What damage does this thing do? This is
Force.
1d8 plus spell casting. Okay. 10 damage, 10 force damage to the kneecap.
All right.
And I try to run towards my friends because this is going to be bad.
You're able to make it back to your friends without too much difficulty. As you're running towards them, you can see from behind them one of the creatures has apparently been called by this incredibly loud scream and is coming up behind Avok and Elaine, who haven't quite noticed it yet. Elaine, you are up next.
oh boy. Okay, so there's the thing, the big thing in front of me.
Yeah, there's something, you can hear something coming behind you that sounds much smaller, and then this giant monstrosity in front of you.
Oh, God. I want to wait till Ava goes toward it. Because I want sneak attack damage. I'll just take out my short bow and turn around to the thing coming toward us.
Okay. Again, you see one of those creatures that have been inhabiting these huts coming towards you. You can see this unbelievably, like, 3-foot long tongue kind of lolling out of it as it comes closer. It's like,
It's just the one.
just the one that you can see right now.
Oh God. I'm gonna take a shot at that thing.
Go for it. Make an attack roll.
Okay. What did I say? I took out my short bow.
Short bow, yeah.
20.
20 is definitely a hit. Go and roll damage.
Okay. Do I get a bonus to damage on that? I don't
It's your
have one.
dexterity modifier.
For the short bow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Math is hard.
It is 8.
8. All right. So
gonna-
you kind of spin and pull out your short bow, fire off a shot, and it hits relatively well. The creature just kind of and keeps going. It rushes forward with the fact that Elaine is the one that hit it, and it comes to make an attack at you with its claws. That is going to be 17.
Yeah.
All right. 4 plus. You take 9, 10, 11. You take 12 slashing damage, and I need a
Can I use
Constitution saving throw.
Can I have that with uncanny dodge?
I think that's just area of effects, isn't it, or is that any attack?
No, evasion is area of effects.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and half it with uncanny dodge. You still need to give me a Constitution saving throw, though.
Yeah. How much was it?
The saving throw. Oh, the damage was 12.
The damage.
So that brings it down to 6, I believe.
Math. Okay. And Constitution saving throw.
Yepers.
Math. God. 14.
All right, so you sit there, and as the claws kind of pierce your skin, you can feel your muscles start to seize up and close, but you just shake it off and prepare yourself for another attack. From behind you, you hear this. And you turn around to see this massive creature moving towards you at full speed. It comes right up to you. And it actually comes right up to Humana Fade, but does nothing because it doesn't have enough actions left to do anything to you, I believe.
Oh, thank God.
Give me 2 seconds. I'll be able to tell you.
It
Thank
dashed.
the Dark Lady.
Oh, just like that's it. It's ended its turn. Let's go.
Yeah, that's all it does. It just comes over and looks like it's preparing to attack you guys. Then we finally get to Avok.
Okay. I saw Elaine. Elaine was pretty much next to me. Turn around and fire his bow. So I turn around, see the long tongue. I'm not going to name it because my character doesn't know what it's called.
It's an undead thing.
Yes, and the undead. Yeah. I'm going to pretty much just try and cut off its tongue. So I'm going to attack it.
Go for
Twice!
Nice.
it. Oh, before you do that, I need a Constitution saving throw from you, Avok.
This thing stinks.
Massively. The worst stench you have ever smelled.
21.
21.
Smells like
So,
home.
as much as you're like gagging on the stench of it, you're able to kind of hold that back a little bit, and it doesn't seem to affect you. Go ahead and make your attack.
Oh, God, that stinks like a motherfucker. Alright. That is a 20 unnatural.
That is a hit, remarkably enough.
Alrighty. Let's do my first bit of damage with this. Hmm. 10 slashing damage.
All right.
Alright, and for my second attack, that's 15 to hit.
15's a hit.
Sweet.
Nice.
So plus 4. That's 11 slashing damage.
All right. So, great sword, right?
Yep.
All right. So it comes around and you see it slash into a lane and dig deep with the cuts. You come around and your first attack slashes right across the chest and you see it cut pretty deep. Your second one goes right across its throat and you can see now it is leaking this black, brackish liquid from it and is wheezing heavily but still upright. Next up is going to be top of the order Fade.
I forgot to rage, son of a bitch.
However, seeing your
How
friends
did
get
you
attacked,
forget?
you're not quite angry enough to just go blind into killing things.
Yeah, but not killing that thing outright is gonna piss me off.
All right, Fade.
So that thing dash. So I can bonus action move my spiritual weapon towards it, but not all the way. So I do that. So my weapon comes back towards me.
Yep.
And that thing charged us while we were over by the door.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm the big giant thing. So I'm going to. It's right on us though.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna do some fun stuff. I'm gonna run towards it and slide and try to like grab its ankle and just kind of like swing myself behind it, just for fun effect.
Okay, yeah,
But
sure.
I'm going to be caught. But as I touch it,
Make
Go
make an acrobatics check for me.
Parkour that shit.
13.
Parkour.
Not bad. You
All I
don't
need to
look.
do is touch it.
No, I understand. You don't look quite as amazing as you could have, but you are able to kind of, swing. You kind of, land on your shield a little bit and use it to kind of slide around and pop yourself back up, so you're on the other side of it now.
All right, so I do that, and as I grab onto it, I'm going to inflict some wounds into it using some fatty spell power,
Okay.
using a 3rd level spell slot. So that means I get to add 1, 2 d10, making that 5 d10 worth of damage if it hits. So I'm going to do that. So roll an attack, 8 plus 15 to hit, which hits, maybe.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then I'm going to do my special channel divinity to add some more damage to it.
Damn.
But I can't remember. I've used that maybe once. So this is Touch of Death. When you hit a creature with a melee attack, to deal an extra 9 necrotic damage. So
Technically,
5
you're not
d10
making a
plus
melee
9.
attack. You're making a spell attack.
Okay. All right, then I will just roll some other dice.
It's a good attempt.
I've never pulled 5 before. This is amazing.
Yeah.
6, 13, 23, 33, 34, 35 necrotic damage.
Math is hard.
I'm happy with that. Although now I'm laying prone next to the giant monster.
Well, you're not
Yes.
prone. You were able to kind of swing yourself back up. You were
worked.
you were good enough to be able to do that.
right.
Yeah, you come around and you guys see as he goes around and kind of slides and gets back up, he leaves his hand there for a little bit, and you see this indigo energy kind of infuse into this, and you watch the flesh that's holding him, which already does not look healthy, immediately starts to rot, and it spreads all the way up this creature's leg, and the creature does not look that happy about it.
All right.
But is still raring to go and ready to fight and die. So next up is going to be Elaine. What would you like to do?
Kill the tongue.
Well, I'm going to. It hit me. I can't rage, but I am going to put my
No,
short
but-
bow away.
I weakened that bastard. Hopefully you can.
Yeah, you did. So I'm going to take out my short sword and my pretty new dagger. I'm going to take 2 swings at him.
sneak attack in.
Go for it.
Yeah. I get sneak attack on the first one that hits. Hopefully they both hit. Oh yeah, that's gonna hit.
What's the
It's
total?
19 plus 5.
Yeah, it hits. It hits
24.
without your mod. Go ahead and roll sneak attack damage.
Okay, 1d6 and an extra 3d6. Oh, that's all of my d6s. I need to buy more d6s.
Oh no!
D&D problems.
Yeah,
Bag of dice saw everything.
rogue problems. I don't have enough d6s for my backstab.
Math. 12 plus 3, 15.
All right. So as you come around, you bring this new masterwork dagger and you plunge it into the back of this creature as it's just kind of turned towards Avok as it gets stuck. As you plunge it in, you hear it cry out in pain, and you just drag it across the back, opening up an incredibly deep wound that blood and insides just fall out completely, and it just collapses onto the ground. I totally forgot to make you roll a Constitution saving throw, but we'll ignore that for right now because I'm not smart enough to run these animals. So, anything else that you want to do?
That dagger. Well, that was one attack, so I'm going to go move toward the other thing now.
Mhm. Which is, again, right next to you. You're kind of sandwiched in between the two.
Oh, well, hi there. You, I'm going to attack you next. Since that was with the dagger, with the short sword now. That is also naturally a 19 plus.
Yep,
Whatever.
it hits. Trust me on this one. Go ahead and roll damage.
Okay. Why? 4.
All right, so you sit there, and as you attempt to pierce it with your short sword, you notice that as you hit it, the weapon goes in, but the skin is so thick that it doesn't go in nearly as far as you think that it should.
Oh no.
Oh boy, that doesn't sound good. I wonder what that means.
As that happens, you guys hear a sound from behind you, and you can see another one of those creatures with the really long tongues coming up behind you, but is far enough away that you're probably not going to have to deal with it for another couple turns. And you can
think we
see a
should
few
close
more
the
behind it. Obviously, you have woken everybody here, and they're coming in your general direction. After that happens, this giant creature, after having Fade kind of grab it and almost destroy its leg, kind of turns around on itself, and you see two massive fists come right down on top of you. The first one is a really awesome 13.
Nice.
Does that hit you, Fade?
Negative.
I rock it rolling.
Good job.
The second one is a 16.
No.
So both of these massive fists come down and just, and you jump out of the way of the first one. And as you're getting up, you see the second one right on top of you, and you reach your shield up to just barely redirect it, and it hits the ground right next to you and shakes you. Next up is going to be Avok.
All right. Well, seeing Elaine kill the tongue undead thing, I turn towards the big PC up thing, whatever.
The big thing.
Yeah, and start raging, and I fart in the direction of the other guys coming.
Okay. Rage farting.
And yeah, start charging at the thing and take my 2 swings at it.
Go for it.
Check your light off.
I fart in their general direction.
Make them make Constitution saving throws.
If only my stench was that bad. Anyhow, that is going to be a 26 to hit.
That's definitely a hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
Alrighty. Do that. Okay, so stop rolling a 1, you damn thing. 7 plus 4, 11 plus 2, 13 slashing.
I have to do math now.
Okay.
Isn't
All
it
right.
fun?
Go ahead and roll your second attack.
That's a 18.
18, another hit.
Sweet.
This thing is so massive, you guys don't think you're going to have a very hard time hitting it.
Plus 2, 9 plus 4. 13 slashing. Again, I think.
Math.
All right, so as you sit there and hack at it with your greatsword, you notice the same thing that Elaine has been noticing, is that the blows themselves are not digging very deep into it, and it doesn't seem to be doing as much damage as you think it really should. Next up goes back up to the top with, with Fade.
I bring my spiritual weapon closer. It's got a
Okay.
20 foot per turn. So this will be 40 feet. Is it close enough? Is it within 5 feet
Sure.
of this thing?
Let's say it's close enough now. It's
All
really
right,
only
so
20 feet. That's impressive.
Yeah. Well, it's
I
a
thought-
free little buddy.
Yeah. I just, for some odd reason, I thought it'd be 30 feet.
Yeah, that would be nice. I mean, sure, we can make it 30 feet.
Yeah,
No. I'm
So-
sorry. You just necroticized half a leg of a giant thing. You know.
I know. Now
He
I want to
deserves
use the weapon to try to hit it again
Go for
in the
it.
same leg, and that will be just a regular attack, which is 8 plus 7, 15 to hit.
Definitely a hit.
All right, so that's 1d8 plus 7. So 11 force damage to that leg again.
All right.
And then as it swings, that's my bonus action. And then I want to do a normal inflict wounds on the same leg. I want to take this thing's leg out,
Okay.
which will be,
Clearly.
yes, 21 to hit. Yeah, buddy. So now
that's
means,
a hit.
all right. 18 plus 3, 23 necrotic damage to the same leg.
That's hilarious. How do you want to do this?
Nice.
So the spiritual weapon comes and takes this thing and starts to like knock it over, and I just kind of like dive and grab its foot and push it, and it just like kind of disintegrates as I go underneath it.
Okay. So you guys see Fade kind of reaches his hand out, and you see him grasp an imaginary weapon with his shield hand, and he swings this weapon. And you guys see this. Mystical weapon come over and mimic his movement. As it comes over, it attacks this creature right in the kneecap and slams it. As the creature starts falling down, Fade reaches over and grabs the other leg, and you can see that indigo energy kind of flow through his arm, and it goes, and you can see that this time it actually disintegrates the leg right beneath the knee. So as he tries to catch himself, the creature itself misses, and you see it start tumbling to the ground. I'd like everyone to make dexterity saving throws for me.
Oh no!
8.
Elaine, what'd you get?
I rolled a 1.
Oh, wow. All right, so
How does its corpse just sleep?
We need
So as you
inspiration.
guys see this massive creature falling down, you start realizing that it's going to collapse on you, and you start to dive out of the way, but aren't quite quick enough. You all take 12 bludgeoning damage as it slams onto
Ow.
you, and
Ow.
are
Because I'm
currently pinned and prone underneath this dead monstrosity.
That would count as AoE, wouldn't it?
Technically,
Darn it.
technically it's fall damage. Really, really bad fall damage.
Reverse fall damage. You said 12.
So, as this is happening, Avox, since you were kind of closest to the door, you can see, even being pinned under this thing, you can see more of these creatures coming towards you guys. Just legions and legions of these creatures coming towards you.
Oh, son of a bitch. Okay, let's get this fucking thing off us.
I'm gonna
Can I
push
lift
this
the
So
thing
thing
off.
off?
next up is actually going to be Elaine. What would you like to do?
Can I like just crawl from under it?
You've got to lift it up enough that you can get out
Okay.
from under it. You are physically pinned. So
All right.
to do that, I'm going to need an athletics check.
Oh,
Which
that's
you've been
not a
doing
one. Okay.
super well on. So.
I know, right? 14.
That's enough. You're able to sit there and push with all of your might, and you're able to kind of move yourself out from underneath this creature. However, it uses all of your movement to do that, and you are still prone next to it.
Oh, well, this is great.
So what else would you like to do?
What? There's stuff running at us from outside the door.
Yeah,
I'm laying on the
basically,
ground next to
from what you can see, because it's a little bit difficult to see with a giant, creature lying in front of you, you can see what looks like most of this area is all running towards you guys right now.
Could I just like try and push the creature off of them now? Even though I'm on the
You're
ground?
not. It basically took your action to lift the creature off yourself and
Took
get
the
out.
action in
Or,
my
I mean, it
movement.
took
What
your
else can I
movement to
on
do
the
that.
ground?
You're not close enough to the other ones to be able to pick them up from where you are. Sorry.
Because anything I do would be at disadvantage, wouldn't it?
Well, technically, being prone doesn't give you disadvantage. The fact that there's a massive creature in front of you would give any targets on the other side the equivalent of 3/4 cover.
Well, I guess I won't do anything for right now.
Okay. Then it goes to you see two of the creatures arrive and look. They don't attack or anything like there, but they kind of ready themselves for something. And then it goes to Avok. You are pinned under a giant creature.
Yeah, I'm getting this fucking thing off me
Okay. Athletics check for me.
with advantage because I'm still raging.
Yep.
Okay, I'll take the first one. 14 plus my athletics. Okay, that's 21.
All right. So you're able to just kind of bench press the portion of the creature that's on you off you. You roll. You're able to stand up next to this thing. However, that takes all of your movement to get out from underneath it and stand up.
Okay.
Now you have a much better view of what's going on. As you look out, you see literally what looks like hundreds of these creatures and other kind of undead creatures coming in your general direction, all heading towards this building. The two that just got here are about 15 feet away from you, just kind of standing there snarling.
Are there any other exits aside from the ones that we came through?
That would be the only way out of this building that you can see currently.
Oh, shit. Okay. Well, this is pretty much a... Come at me, you motherfuckers! And
All
that's my
right.
turn.
Then it goes up to Fade again, up to the top of the order. What would you like to do?
I'm going to concentrate really hard and try to reanimate this giant corpse
Really?
using my animate dead spell.
Okay, I actually have to look up that spell because I don't know exactly how it works, and in this particular instance, it's going to work very uniquely.
Page 212 of the PHB.
You are a wonderful person.
No problem.
Enemy dead.
This is not a medium or small humanoid.
Okay, then I can't
This
do
is a
that.
large creature.
Yeah, this is a large creature. and it's actually a large version of a large creature, almost to the huge size.
Huh.
Then can I still attempt to try to get out of the
Yeah.
from underneath it? All right.
Mhm.
Rolling athletics, 8 plus 3, 11 to get out.
Yeah, you're able to. Again, you just barely are able to push it up and move yourself out of it. You're not able to stand up or anything. You're still prone next to this creature.
Then can I send my spiritual weapon out the door to try to hit something?
Sure. You can't make it all the way out the door because there are creatures standing in it. But you could definitely try and attack one of the creatures.
Ooh. Well, all right. Let's try this. Knowing how heavy this door is, because I pushed it before, could my weapon theoretically push the door rather than just hit it?
It does force damage. Sure. Depending on how high you roll and the damage it does, we will
Okay.
have it affect the door that way.
All
Go
right.
ahead and make
So
an attack roll.
swinging at one of the doors.
Yeah.
13 plus spell attack, so 20 to hit the door, and then
Definitely hits the door.
10 to force damage the door.
All right, so you actually sit there and you direct your spiritual weapon over there, and as it impacts the door, it hits it and it swings it to the point where it actually knocks one of the creatures back outside of the building, and the door doesn't shut completely. It gets to kind of like a 45-degree angle of shutting. But there's enough force that it knocks the creature back without damaging it, but it moves it back.
Okay.
And the
I'm
door is
happy with that.
partially closed now.
That's all I can do.
All right. Elaine, what would you like to do?
I would like to get up, which
Okay.
that takes half the movement, right?
Half your movement. Yep.
Okay. Now, one of the doors is kinda closed.
It's
and
about
then,
halfway closed. The other one wasn't open quite as far. So it's open kind of like perpendicular to the door frame, if that makes sense.
yeah,
Okay.
because geometry. I don't know. We're not gonna
All
go
right.
with that.
What would you like to do?
So I'll try and push the door that Fade Spiritual Weapon almost closed all the way.
Okay. I need an athletics check from you.
Because these are really great and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Is the floor beneath me?
You think so. You're not 100% sure.
Oh god, that's way better than I've been rolling. 22.
Yeah, you guys see Elaine kind of do like a kick flip up, and then he just kind of bull rushes the door, slams it with his shoulder. You feel the impact of the door itself. You're probably going to be bruised, but you're able to shut the first door pretty completely. However, now you are right next to this other creature that's kind of snarling at you. What would you... next up.
That would be an action. Do I get a bonus action?
Sure. What do you want to do as a bonus action?
I want to stab it with my dagger.
Technically, you can only use two-weapon fighting if you take the attack action.
Oh.
Because it's an additional attack with an offhand weapon. Since you didn't take the attack action, you can't.
Technically, I attacked that door.
No. Good
Okay.
try. But
Darn it. Okay. I'll just arm myself.
okay.
And just
The creature next to you, seeing what happens,
you didn't see anything.
It kind of looks at you and it backs itself a little bit more in to the point where it's now flush with the door and just kind of readies itself for something, but it doesn't make any attack. Behind
Weird.
it, you see what looks like at least 3 or 4 more kind of make their way to the building. These ones are not in attack postures, though. They're just kind of standing there staring at you. Avok, you're up next.
Okay. So there are 3 of those things in the doorway.
There's only one in the doorway. There's more behind the doorway on the outside of the building right now.
Okay. Well, let's see. All right, seeing Elaine close the door. Probably best to close the other one. So I'm gonna go. I'm pretty much just gonna go up to the other door and be like, "Yo, no one's home. Fuck off."
Okay. No one's home. Gotcha. I need an athletics check then.
Yep. Hang on a minute. Range lasts for 1 minute and it's only if you are knocked unconscious or if you turn into you haven't attacked a hostile creature since your last turn or take. Crap, my rage is done. Didn't attack anything last turn.
And weren't attacked. I think if you make an athletics check, doesn't that continue the rage?
No, it says your rage lasts for 1 minute. It ends early if you are knocked unconscious or if your turn ends and you haven't attacked a hostile creature since your last turn or taken damage since then.
Okay.
You can also, yeah.
Makes sense.
So, yep.
So the rage slowly drains from your eyes, and you start to see clearer. You rush up to the door itself, start throwing your shoulder in, and you roll.
We don't want any. Okay, that's a 16 plus 7, math, 23.
All right, so you shoulder the other door, and it slams shut. And the room itself goes back to pitch darkness to the point where you can't see anything beyond some slight glowing from the instruments that are on the walls and things like that. You are almost completely blind. You guys can hear from outside. You hear some scraping sounds. You hear some shouts. Go ahead and roll perception checks for me.
Some shouts.
Would that be with disadvantage for me considering I'm blind?
You are listening, not seeing, so no.
Point taken. Point taken. Okay, yeah, that's 14.
Okay.
13.
I got a 9.
9. All right, so Fade, you just hear, like I said, noises and scraping sounds and stuff like that. Avok and Elaine can start hearing a little bit more. You can start hearing, like, every so often you will hear like a word. You can't really tell what it is, but it sounds distinctly like some sort of spoken language. But it's very few and far in between. Though, as you guys are no longer in combat, you're able to kind of take a reference of everything around you and kind of look around. The giant creature itself is lying on the floor, leaking this black liquid. It stinks horrendously in there, especially after Fade went and destroyed it by rotting it to death. You guys start noticing and you start hearing the walls themselves are starting to vibrate a little bit, and you get the idea that you hear this scratching sound getting deeper and deeper. You get the idea that they're trying to come through the walls, seeing as there's no chance that they're going to be able to do anything to the doors. What would you guys like to do?
Okay, how do we get out of this one now?
Well, there's a 15-foot high pillar. I mean, if we could just get above them, we could try to just shoot arrows at their heads.
Who else capable of doing that?
I can shoot some stuff.
mean, I can give a short bow to somebody. I have a crossbow as well.
So that's
Man, you
one
were just
option.
prepared.
I freaking looted the crap out of those pirates.
He just keeps everything. He's the hoarder of the party.
I am a rogue. I'm a thief. Okay, I got just everything I can get. I'm taking.
All right, so as you guys are kind of trying to figure out, you're hearing more and more sound that's getting closer. You guys are starting to see little pinpricks of light peeking through the wall as some of the claws are starting to actually dig through it. These buildings weren't really designed to be super structurally sound, so they're making it through relatively quickly.
I I'm gonna run towards the altar and just kind of check it out. I mean, this thing was built or brought to life there to see if there's any weapons or mechanisms that we can use.
As you get closer to it, you notice that it's basically a giant slab, very similar to the ones that the other creatures were resting on, just larger. It looks to be about 30 feet long and about 15 feet high.
Can
And as you
I?
come to one of the corners, it looks like it's about 10 foot wide.
Can I? Boy, maybe I shouldn't have killed that thing so quick. I guess let me throw up a detect magic and see if I can find any hidden or secret pathways. I guess
As you
since
sit
we're
there and you clutch your holy symbol, the detect magic activates, and you are overwhelmed with everything that's happening in the room. Kind of like someone just turned on an amazingly bright light. As your eyes kind of focus, you start to see that the energy in the room that you had been feeling. You kind of look over to the creature and you realize that the creature itself seem to be uh, the energy seemed to be coming from there, and all of the items around it were actually amplifying and transmitting that necromantic energy out of this building, probably, you guess, to the rest of this area. You remember seeing before that kind of energy field that was kind of connecting all of these creatures and that was emanating from them. You get the idea that that field that was emanating from them was connecting to this one specifically that you have now kind of disrupted, seeing as you've destroyed the thing that was holding this field together.
I I scream destroy the body as I run towards it to try to chop it up or something. I don't
The
have any fire.
the damage to the field has kind of been done. The residual energy is just kind of slowly dying as you know there was a lot of energy coming from this thing. You do
Okay.
notice as you get close to it, very similar to what you saw when Song was communicating one of them, this magical rope. You see kind of what looks similar to that, but very distinct and different, slowly shrinking and shriveling, coming from outside the building. Um, you have no idea where it's coming from, but it's slowly shrinking and shriveling, and as that kind of shrinks and shrivels, the necromantic field that has been just everywhere in this area is slowly starting to dissipate as that rope itself thins and thins to the point of non-existence.
Okay, then I'm just concentrating on watching this happen.
Okay. As this is happening, you start seeing the walls themselves start to crumble by the doors where you guys were. You see the doors themselves, because they no longer have walls that they're attached to, start to fall down. A couple of them actually collapse on a few of these creatures and crush them beneath their weight. And then something really weird happens. As you see that happening, the creatures that are around it start picking up the doors and dragging the bodies out from underneath these doors that have just been collapsed. And you see this kind of almost army of creatures start moving towards you guys, but stop about 15 feet short of you. and just kind of stand there staring at you as you see the ones that were injured are being taken off to other areas. Which is another thing that's very bizarre to see undead doing. Um, you've actually never seen an undead creature even notice other creatures that it wasn't attacking.
Well, I'm
Avok,
out of
you
my
are now
depth.
closest to this kind of overwhelming army. You notice that that stench you smelled before from them is still present, but is slowly starting to fade and not be quite as rancid as it was before. But it's still relatively overwhelming just due to the sheer number of these creatures that are in front of you. Um, you can see the.
Constitution saving throw.
Nope, you're just recognizing it.
Okay.
You can see the ones that are closest to you are in defensive stances. Um, and again, you're starting to notice that the ones that are closest to you that are getting in kind of into these defensive stances have what you would consider martial training. You're familiar with the stance that you're taking. It's actually a relatively effective stance if you're attempting to kind of protect yourself as much as you can. Which is another thing you have never seen an undead creature do. And they're just standing there, kind of preparing for something. What would you like to do?
Okay. Well, any ideas?
I look at the closest one, look at Avok, ask it to not attack.
As you say this, you're starting to see a little bit more of what's happening. You're noticing that these creatures are still radiating necromantic energy, um, but the energy itself is just kind of coming out from them and dissipating. It's not connecting to anything else, and it's no longer traveling between them like it was before. They seem kind of cut off from whatever field it was that was connecting them before. What would you guys like to do?
I'm gonna back into like the darkest corner of this room.
I think the room's gone.
Yeah, the room is still there. However, there are holes appearing in every wall, even behind you guys now. So the room itself is lit fairly well, and you guys are now
Yeah.
starting to be surrounded by these creatures. None of them are moving closer than about 15 to 20 feet of you, um, but they have now kind of surrounded you.
I try to get up on that altar. I want the high ground.
Go ahead and make me an athletics check.
14 to climb.
All right, as you sit there and start trying to climb up this thing, it wasn't really designed to be climbed by someone your size. So you try and make it up. You can't really find a handhold on it, and you're not able to get up there. As you start doing this, you notice that the creatures themselves, you're starting to hear single words, some of them in languages you've never heard before, so they sound mostly gibberish, but every so often you'll hear a word in common. Uh, it's just because of the cacophony of everything going on, it's very difficult to pick any of these words out beyond the fact that you're starting to hear them more regularly. And every so often you'll hear what sounds like maybe a sentence strung together in common. But again, because there's so much happening and there's so much noise from these creatures all kind of making noises at once, you can't really tell who's saying what right now.
I pull out my sword and get my back against this altar. Get ready to go.
As you pull the sword out, one of the creatures steps forward closer to you guys, and you hear very distinctly, "Put down."
I drop it. Cling, 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 cling.
I'm still on my greatsword.
The creature turns towards you, Avok, and just sits there and goes, down. Put.
Is this who I think it is?
It is not your brother.
Okay.
This is actually this is a what looks like in life was a human.
Okay. I'm still not putting it down.
Okay. He looks at you. He goes, down. Put. Please.
Oh, he said, please. It has manners.
It said the magic word.
It said, please.
I cough really loudly. Obey.
Don't even start.
Another one. He realizes he's not getting anywhere. He turns to Elaine and goes, "Put down, please. Don't hurt."
I'll sheath my weapons.
Turns back towards Avok.
I'm still holding my greatsword, but I'm not in a defensive stance.
He looks.
just at
He
it's at
looks
my
at
side.
you, and he reaches out a hand and kind of points at you, and then he reaches over and he points at Fade, and then he points at Elaine, and then he points at the massive creature, and you hear you kill.
Yes.
What of it?
And you see him like he grabs his head and he starts just like hitting his head like this, and then he points over to the creature, and then he like hits his head and kind of presses his head again and points at the creature. He said, "Control."
Oh.
You're welcome.
You see him just kind of nod furiously. You notice that the more he interacts, the speech is starting to come slightly better, slightly easier for people to understand. You're noticing he's using more complete sentences now. He's like, "You killed that? Why?"
It asked for it.
It was kind of trying to kill us.
Self-defense.
You come to save us.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but
And then from
Sir.
behind the crowd, you hear very, very clearly, "Avok!"
Oh shit.
And you
just gonna
see
back up.
a couple creatures come through, decaying flesh on them, and one of them turns to you. You don't really recognize this particular one, but he turns his back to you, and he's got the symbol of a ram on his back shoulder. And then he turns to you and goes, "Avok!" and points at you.
I just nod at him.
He comes over and kind of grabs your hand, one of the hands that's on your greatsword, roughly, and just shoots it up into the air, and just screams at the top of his lungs, "Avok!" And you hear from a few creatures in the crowd, you hear this.
Um,
The one that
is it-
originally spoke to you turns his back on you and kind of addresses the crowd. Go! You must hide. Find where you can't be seen. Go! And you notice that the group itself starts to kind of go out through the doors, and you see them start running to various places. You have no idea where they're going. However, you notice about 8 to 10 of them remain, and you can see most of these were orcs or half orcs before they were resurrected, and they continue to come forward specifically towards Avok.
oh God, it's a reunion. Do I see my brother anywhere?
None of these are your brother. To be perfectly honest, like these people here, it's been a while since you've seen anyone from your former company. You're not really recognizing any of them specifically. Some of them look kind of familiar, but due to decay and what they've been through, you're not seeing any of them that you can go, oh, you're so and so, or you're blah blah. Like you've no idea who these people are, beyond the fact that they all carry the same brand that you do. But
All
again,
right.
it was a large company. You didn't know everybody.
That is true. Oh, good. I don't have to improvise on this one.
No, talk to all of them.
Okay. I just go to I just ask any of them. Where's Korvac? Have you seen Korvac?
They kind of look at each other, and then they look at you, and they kind of touch their heads and like, can't remember. Just woke up.
Damn it.
The one that has kind of been issuing commands to everyone is now becoming much more comfortable speaking. And he comes directly up to Fade, actually. And he just kind of reaches his hand out towards you, Fade.
Greetings.
He seems
Salutations.
expecting something. As you kind of clasp hands, you start noticing that the flesh that, again, you've dealt with undead things. In general, they're not really all that pleasant to touch. As you grasp onto it, you realize that the hand itself, the skin, while not exactly warm, doesn't feel like, the undead you're used to feeling, where the skin is just kind of barely starting to come off, and you squeeze too hard and you're going to come away with some extra fingers. And you start noticing that the creatures themselves are starting to change somewhat. You're starting to notice that, like, the undead and the rot that was kind of covering their bodies before is starting to kind of slowly knit itself into a skin-like substance, and they're starting to look a little bit more humanoid and a little bit less dead. But they're still, especially since your detect magic is still working, they're still unmistakably undead.
What? I'm staring at this guy that I'm touching, just trying to study what's going
And
on
you
his
see him,
hand.
he grins with half a lip that's slowly starting to knit itself. And you see him start speaking in more full sentences. He's like, not what you expect, are we?
Not at all.
And you see him kind of laugh. The first time you have ever heard an undead creature laugh. And he just kind of chuckles. He's like, you have a lot to learn. And it seems genuinely mirthful. Like there's no malice behind it whatsoever.
So I want this guy to be my best friend. Is there anything I can do for you? Anything else besides that?
Don't make it
I
weird.
look at his pile.
You can detect magic. Yes?
I can.
Can you tell when you are being scryed?
I can't like I can just tell. I can't really see
When your
it though,
detect
right?
magic spell, the last time you had someone scryed on you, it was that feeling of like an intense spotlight being shined on you. So the
Yeah, like I
detect
knew it
magic,
was there.
yeah. So as long as your
Yes.
detect magic is up, you can.
Yes, I can. What do I call you?
My name, and he kind of sits back. I I don't know. I can't remember. Not important. We need to hide. If he finds out, he no longer controls us. He will return. Is he watching now?
I look around. Do I detect a spotlight?
You're not sensing any sort of scrying.
Not right now. At least not at this very moment.
Come with me. We must get out of this area. Too easy for him to find us. You notice the more that he talks, the more it starts coming out a little bit more naturally. It still sounds weird as fuck right now. But it's slowly becoming more natural. And he kind of waves and he yells off to the people that are kind of surrounding Avok. He's like, "We must go now to the hideout. Go!" And you see all of the orcs around Avok kind of sit there and they pat him on the back or they kind of punch him in the shoulder or something, and they run off.
Schmuck still can't hit.
And then he turns to you. He's like, "Follow me. We need to go somewhere safe. I know a place." And he runs away, not really waiting for you guys.
I look at Avok. This is the first lead to your brother. We should follow it.
Yeah, hopefully he knows more than, well, those idiots.
So what do you guys want to do?
Following that guy.
All right. So as you guys go, you notice that he's moving remarkably fast. Like were he human or were he alive, you would assume that he was in pretty damn good shape to be able to move this quickly, and you guys are actually struggling a little bit to keep up with him. Not to the point where you can't, but it's winding you a little bit. You notice he will randomly turn down different areas and different alleys, and almost like he knows this place perfectly. And eventually, you come up to a building very similar to the one that you were in before, just kind of like a farmhouse style thing. And he goes up and he opens the door. He's like, "In now, quickly." What are you guys gonna
I,
do?
We're going.
yeah, I try to push him in.
All right. So as you guys enter the building, again, it looks like there's been no activity in here for a very, very long time. As soon as you guys are in, he closes the door and he walks straight to the back. You guys again find a very similar place where there's a stair going up to a second level. He goes past the stairs and actually goes to what looks like a storage space underneath the stairs, opens it up, and tries to rush you guys in.
Why didn't we find the last one like that?
That's a fantastic question. What do you guys want to do?
We
It's a
go.
bit small for us in here.
It is safe in here. Trust me.
I look
don't
for.
trust you.
Oh,
Fine.
What'd you say?
I look for anything loose, grab it, so I can cast a light spell on it as we
Okay.
go in.
As you go in, you see what looks like a storage space. Um, and then you see at the very end, the floor doesn't look quite right. And the guy just kind of very slightly pushes past you and just slams his hand on the ground. And you notice it falls down. And you can see what looks like the top rungs of a ladder.
Let's go.
So
God.
you guys descend down the ladder. You get into a room very similar to the one you found before, which is completely open. But you notice that the ladder itself continues going beneath the room. And as you guys go down even more, you are greeted by a very, very dark room. But you can see with your light spell, you can see there are sconces along the wall that have torches that could be lit if you were to apply some sort of fire to them. You also notice that there's a few tables down here, and on the back wall, you see suits of armor, you see weapons racks, you see clothing. Uh, it looks almost not really like an armory, more like maybe a shelter of some sort. The armor itself is mismatched. Some of it has bloodstains on it. Some of it has obviously been repaired from rather extensive damage to it. As you all kind of get down there, the person that kind of brought you there, you see him kind of reach up and pull the ladder, and you notice that the ladder actually snaps in half and comes down as if it was designed to do that. And he moves what looks like a false piece of earth on top of it and comes down. And you see him take out or reach around on the ground, and he picks up what looks like a flint and starts lighting one of the torches in one of the sconces, and then goes around and lights all of them. And you guys realize you're in a relatively large kind of underground bunker. You notice that it doesn't seem like there's anyone else in this particular one. And it's roughly about 50 foot by 50 foot. So actually larger and than the house itself. It goes underneath probably a few of those buildings and things like that that you saw before.
I'm sure that there's no remaining tethers to this guy, right?
By this point, you're just your detect magic spell would have worn off.
But it wasn't on him. Like it dissipated when we were in that big
Yeah.
room, right?
Again, he's still radiating necromantic energy, kind of like consider it kind of like he has a necromantic battery in it or something. But it's not connected to anything. He's just it
Okay.
kind of radiates from him and dissipates. After he does all that, he goes to a wall, and you see incredibly old rations that he kind of goes through. He bites a few of them, spits them out, throws them down, comes over. He's like, "Well, I guess it's been a while. Do you know what year is it? What day is it? What week is it?"
I tell him the year.
He kind of looks at you, and he's like, "Well, 5 months. Wonder how long it'll last this time." And then he realizes you guys are still in the room. He's like, "Oh, sorry. Thank you. Thank you. You really have no idea what you've just done, do you?"
I'd like to know, please.
To be honest, I don't know what's happened. I know that that thing that you killed, it was being used as a focus. It was being used at those machines in there. They somehow gave it the ability to project this field or something. And as long as it was on, we were prisoners in our own bodies. We had to do anything that he said to us. We had no control. We were conscious. We knew what we were doing, but we couldn't stop. It also had, and he starts showing you, he lifts his arm up and he shows you kind of the decay that's slowly starting to heal itself. It also had, we assume, the unintended side effect of making us decay faster. Now that it's off, I'm feeling a lot better.
I just gasp when he starts laughing again.
Fate, calm down. Chill.
How did you get here? How did you die, for that matter?
I don't know. Every so often the field would fluctuate or something would go wrong, and some of us would regain a portion of control over ourselves. And so whenever it happened, we would try to make plans. Sometimes we would only have a few hours before the control would return. Sometimes we would have days. And we eventually started realizing what was happening and decided to start making these. And he kind of gestures around in case we could ever break it permanently. He's so powerful. We knew that if we were ever to mount a resistance against him, we would need to arm ourselves and prepare ourselves.
You know where he is.
And you see him just kind of frown and he holds his head. It's hard. Not everything has come back yet. I mean, I don't even know my name. I'm getting visions of a life before now, but I can't think.
I'm going to touch his shoulder and try to throw a small heal at him, see if it does anything.
Okay. Roll the health points.
9 hit points.
So as you sit there and you kind of touch his shoulder, the healing energy kind of radiates from your holy symbol down your arm and into him, and you notice him kind of gasp in pain. He's like, "Ow! What the hell did you do that for?" And then you start looking at it, and he moves his arm a little bit, and he's like, "Wow, that hurt like hell." But I guess I can't really argue with the effects. And you notice that the kind of restitching that his skin has been doing is slightly accelerated in certain places.
Okay.
So I've been talking your ears off. Who are you?
We were stranded here, but we're looking for someone. Have you seen a half orc that looks kind of like this guy?
I've seen a lot of half orcs, and no offense, they kind of have a very similar motif. Fangs. Everybody here kind of has gray skin.
That's racist.
Picking one out of a crowd is a little bit difficult for me when in general I had a few hours to a day of control over my body.
Okay, how about this? Do you recall a half orc carrying a really wicked axe?
That sounds familiar.
Serrated on the blade.
Yeah. Um I can see the axe. I again, like, this is hard to do. I mean, you have no idea what it's been like, and now that I can finally move and talk, not everything is caught up quite the same.
Focus.
What's it look like I'm doing, Touchy?
Yeah, speaking of touchy, why don't you touch him in the head? Maybe that'll help jog his fucking memory.
And as he does that, you notice he reaches over for a sword and just kind of points at you as like, I feel fine. Like let's let that heal on its own. I mean, I appreciate it, but that hurt like hell. I'm not really that interested in reliving that just yet.
Hands go in my pockets.
I understand that you've got to find this whomever it is. But right now we got bigger fish to fry. Down here, thus far he hasn't been able to find us. There are places like this all over this area, and that's where everyone else has gone right now. Apparently, we've anyone else that knew of this one specifically didn't make it. I don't know how many of us actually are still, and he kind of looks at himself. I guess alive is the closest thing I can come up with.
You think this place is safe?
I don't have any reason to not think that.
I throw up a
Again,
detect magic.
this is the first time in 5 months I've been able to think anything that wasn't forced on me. Your guess is as good as mine. I mean, you're the one that can see magic.
Oh yeah, about that. Let's do that. Turn that on.
Okay. As you kind of look around, you know that you are relatively far down. Like, you're probably at this point about 40 feet underground. So, you know, scrying in general, like physical barriers and stuff like that, don't technically stop it that much. However, in general, you have to know what you're scrying for. So you wouldn't be able to scry on a hidden room if you didn't realize that the hidden room was there.
Okay.
You wouldn't know to focus the magic there.
Well, then I'm just going to go stand uncomfortably close to this person thing, undead creature, and just kind of just not touch him, but I'm going to like look real closely at him and see what I can
He kind of
learn
gives
just
you
from
this
observation.
weird look. Go ahead and roll me an Arcana check.
Yeah, I look at you weirdly as well. Like,
That-
what the fuck are you doing?
I think
19.
this is Fade we're talking about.
So as you kind of inspect him closer, you're remembering how revenants in general work because you're recognizing some of the similar magics. And the way that they work is they're basically infused with a large amount of necromantic energy that gives them the ability to complete a very specific task. As they attempt to complete this task, they use the energy up, and normally within about a year, the energy itself has been used completely, and they kind of disintegrate back into nothingness. This one, as you're looking at, you see something similar where it seems to be that he's been infused with necromantic energy, but you notice that he seems to be generating a very low amount of his own energy to the point where you're fairly certain that with something to sustain this energy output, he could live the length of a kind of regular human lifespan from this own energy that he's creating himself inside.
Okay. I'm glad know that.
So unlike most revenant that kind of have an expiration date, he doesn't seem to have one.
Okay. Gotta get him some
Now,
food.
you have no idea what the effect of, fighting and you have no idea what it is that's causing him to create this energy. So beyond that, you're really not sure how much longer it will last for him specifically, but it's very much different from magic that you're used to.
Okay. I suggest that we hold up here for a little while and figure out a plan.
Well, it's been 5 months since I've had a meal, and all my food is worthless. None of you guys have something to eat? I'm starved. Another thing very bizarre to hear from an undead creature.
I don't like it. This unsettles me. The fact that he's undead does not.
Mm-hmm.
I'll pull out a ration or something. Toss it to him. No, I'll hand it to him so that I can touch his hand.
Okay.
Oh my god.
As you do, again, the hand itself isn't warm like you would expect from any other kind of warm-blooded creature, but it's not like the cold of death. It's kind of like lukewarm, which just feels awkward.
Fascinating.
Yeah. Thank you, Data. And as he takes it, you see he opens up the iron rations and just starts chowing down on them. And again, since your detect magic is still going, as he eats it, you notice that kind of the energy emanating from him very slightly increases a little bit.
What the hell?
You get kind of the idea that this creature is sustained very similar to any other creature where it takes in nourishment for energy and then uses that energy to do things. Almost like this is a brand new race that has somehow been created.
I'm so on board. Okay. Yeah, I wanna just kind of chill in the proximity of this guy for a while.
So what about the rest of you guys? What do you want to do?
I'm gonna go look at the weapons.
Most of them, like a couple of them, you recognize from having seen them in battle before. Obviously, some of these are recovered from former members of your troop. The rest of them are just very regular weapons. Some of them you can see have been mended through traditional means. Some of them are completely worthless in actual combat due to broken blades, handles that have been cracked or fused. These are not the kind of weapons that you would want to arm anybody with, but in a pinch, you could use them. But they're definitely scavenged.
Junk.
Hey, you worked hard to get those.
So none of the like, what looks decent enough to use?
To be perfectly honest, the stuff that you're using right now is significantly better than anything you're going to find here.
Like, I could throw stuff at people.
You get the idea from all the things that you saw. If there are more caches like this cache is not enough to arm, more than maybe like 3 or 4% of the group. You get the idea just from the size of this thing. They don't have enough armaments to completely arm themselves, much less be able to give away any.
Oh
Is
boy.
it just weapons and armor they have in here then?
Yeah,
Alright.
nothing else. Again, this is not like the lap of luxury or anything. It looks very hastily built. Just enough stuff down here to keep someone alive.
I mean, just checking, see if they got anything.
Yeah, nothing really valuable.
Alright.
There were a whole bunch of sets of armor back in the original mansion that we were in, right? Just up in those hallways. Where
Yeah, they were technically ceremonial, except for the one that turned into a helmed horror.
Okay.
You're not sure how many more of those might have magical aspects to them, but
Okay.
from a purely like offensive standpoint, like they're ceremonial decorations. They're probably not something you would want to wear into battle.
Okay.
And they haven't been maintained in centuries, so. So as he's sitting there and he finishes his meal, he's like, so, you guys are here because you were stranded, and you thought the best way to get off this island is to destroy a flesh golem?
Well, yes.
I think you may need to reevaluate your decision-making process.
I don't disagree.
But I can't really complain about the results. We might be able to do something now. I mean, there's still... Well, let's see. There's still the spiders and the worshippers, but... I mean, you've stopped... The main portion of his army is here. We were what he was going to use to take over everything. And you guys have dealt a pretty big blow. He's probably not going to be very happy with you.
I don't think he was happy with us to begin with.
I'm not happy with him.
The spiders?
Oh, and the worshippers? The fuck are these things?
Oh, you guys haven't been to the rest of the city, have you?
No.
We're still browsing.
Oh. So you haven't... We're not the only people he screwed up here.
Oh, God
You may
damn
want to
it.
sit down.
Oh boy.
And he kind of sits down. You notice that there's nowhere for real ventilation for any of the smoke or anything from like the torches. So he sits there and he's looking around. He's like, I really wish I could make a fire. Never mind. And he kind of turns to you guys. He's like, so, again, I'm piecing this together from my Swiss cheese brain. There's there's other areas. You came to, we've been calling it the graveyard. I have no idea what he calls it. But you came to the graveyard. This is where his troops waited until they were being used for something. There's two other areas that he has control over in this city. We call him the Web Tower. It's a massive tower. He's been experimenting with ways to create an army to do whatever he wants. We were supposed to be that army, but again, the field he used to control us caused us to decay. Not really all that great if you want a standing army. If you want a puddle of an army, it works perfectly. So he experimented with other things. I think before he even started with us, he had these spiders that he did things to. They can talk, but they don't talk. You can hear them. And so in the Web Towers, that's where they are. And he uses them. They make stuff. They're the spider silk. It's very, very light and has magic properties. So he's been
Man,
using
we
it
could
to
use
do
some
things.
friends right now.
I just shifty eye everybody.
Sounds really familiar.
Oh shit.
You guys, I thought you guys said you hadn't been to the Web Towers. How do you?
It's
Nope,
a long
nope,
story.
nope. No worry about it.
All right. Anyway, so those are in the Web Towers, and then the worshippers. There were some of us that had slightly stronger wills than others. I think the one that you're looking for, the one with the axe, he was one of those. He couldn't be reliably controlled all the time, so those that had stronger wills, they were sent to, we just call it the chapel. It's a cathedral. In it are devices, kind of like the ones that were in that building, but instead of just amplifying a field and needing some creature to focus it, they control people. They brainwash them. It's different than what happened to us. We were puppets. These are servants. And they
Oh boy.
stay in the chapel. There's not many of them, and they're not the kind of guys you want to mess with. The one that you're talking about, I've seen him take out a dozen of guys like me with a few swings of that wicked looking axe. They're incredibly strong, and they can control their own movements and are completely devoted to him. They're deadly, man.
They haven't seen anything yet.
Well, you might be right. Just be careful if you try and take these guys on. You don't want to fight them one-on-one. They have abilities, and now that he knows you, he may be focusing them on you. When they pick somebody that they're going to kill, they can do things to you that I've never seen before. I've seen them paralyze incredibly strong foes with a single glance and then rip them into tiny pieces while they just sit there.
Sounds fun.
I think your definition of fun and mine differs slightly.
Fair enough.
But
And
again,
where
you're the one that touches people and makes them hurt when you fix them, so what do I know?
Yeah, his definition of everything is a lot different from ours.
is there a table or chairs somewhere in
Yeah,
this?
there's they're closer to like stools and boxes, but there are things to sit on and there are things to rest things on.
I go sit on top of a box and start
Okay.
meditating.
All right. So he turns to the rest of you guys. He's like, does he do that a lot?
I'm kind of in my own angry little world, so I'll aim this questions towards you.
I don't try to understand him.
Gotcha. And then he kind of looks at Avok and he's like, So I guess it's just me and you. And he has like a single scrap left from his ration. He's like, you hungry?
I've got my own.
Oh, good. And he finishes it off. He turns to the rest of you guys and he's like, I don't know how much longer this is going to last. In order for him to control us again, he needs a creature to amplify the magic. I don't know how long it's going to take for him to make another one, but I'm going to get everyone together and we're going to try and stop him before then. Whatever you guys want to do is up to you.
Well, I think Avok would like to have his brother back first. And we definitely need to go take this guy down as soon as possible.
All
I
right.
turn and look and say, "What is your? Do you have a current attack plan?
Well,
Do we hit the worshippers first?"
our plan was basically to attack. We hadn't really gotten too much beyond that planning phase. Again, I've been able to control myself now for an hour. It's kind of hard to come up with an attack plan when you don't have control over your body.
Then, well, I'm not really a tactician, but I think we need to pick this guy apart one force at a time. Since we need to find your brother, Avok, I say we.
The keep where he does his experiments is it's behind the chapel. You generally have to go through the chapel to get there.
And where are the spiders?
They're in the web towers.
How many
They're,
web towers are there?
It's one giant tower with other towers in it. It's like a mega tower. I don't know how to describe it. It's one building, splits off into smaller buildings the higher you get up.
I look at Avok. I want to get to your brother too, and I want to offer him the same freedom we've given these guys. But I'm afraid we can't do it with this guy having this much strength at his beck and call. Perhaps we take out the spiders first, or at least try to ally them. I mean, we do have the sail to prove we're not the bad guys. I probably shouldn't do the talking, but
Wait
if
a
we could
minute,
get them
you
on our
guys-
side.
You guys want to talk to them? You guys want to make
We we
friends
ran into
with
these guys before.
what?
Yeah, it's a long story. Another time.
Okay, you guys are certainly not the I guess rescuers we were expecting.
But we're the
Listen,
We're the
rescuers
ones
you
who did
deserve.
it.
I'm going to head out to a couple of the other caches that I know about. See if I can't find the other, I guess we can call ourselves leaders. See if I can't start formulating some sort of a plan about what we're going to do. But I don't know how many of them are going to be willing to head back towards him now that we've actually gained our freedom. I'll be able to
Just
tell you
remind
more
them.
once I talk to the other leaders.
Of course, by all means. Just remind them what we've already done by accident.
All
You
right.
have the
Well,
best chance with us than by yourselves, and we're going soon.
all right. Well,
If they really want their freedom, attack is the only option.
Otherwise, they'll just end up back under his control.
and I'll be back in a couple of hours. Try and refrain from using any magic. It tends to tip him off. The
I
last
look at
thing we need
everyone.
is for him to find out where we are. All right, and he goes over to the little walls and he starts putting on some chain mail, and he picks up a larger kind of bastard sword style sword, slings it on his back. He goes, "I'll be back," and rushes up the ladder.
Okay.
So now you guys are kind of alone in the room together. Perfect
So that guy,
time for telling scary stories and truth or dare. So
but good, sounds like good news. Your brother's not. He just wanted to attack us. So that's a thing.
I'm gonna fucking kill that motherfucker.
Your brother? I thought we were trying to help him.
Who the fuck do you think I'm even referring to?
Well, your
Doubt it.
brother.
Oh my.
Could be talking about the guy controlling his brother.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Corin? Why not?
Yeah, that pissant.
Fade, with your detect magic still technically on right now, when Elaine says Corin's name, uh, you see just the slightest bits of ripple in the
Off.
weave around him.
Off. Detect magic off.
What did you do?
What?
I say, come over here, and in the dirt in the ground. He was about to see us. Let's not say his name anymore.
No, it
Okay, so
wasn't
now
like
we.
a scrying spell was happening. It was just apparently, for whatever reason, that particular word, kind of like very similar to how Song invokes her magic through words. That particular word, for whatever reason, had some slight arcane power behind it.
I don't
So-
like it.
God. I'm just okay. Don't say the D word. Don't say the K word.
Yeah. Wake me up if someone. Wake me up when he gets back. And I
Wake me
go
up
back
before
to
you
the box.
go.
Oh, dang it. Okay.
And with that, folks, I think that's where we're going to end it for tonight. So, Thank you to everyone that stuck with us till the end. If you missed any part of the episode, you can always check it out on my YouTube channel. I try and upload them hopefully by the next day. Sometimes takes a little bit longer depending on how busy my life is. That's youtube.com/trainerjody. If you want to watch us live, we do this the first and third Tuesdays of every month right here on twitch.tv/trainerjody at 8 p.m. Central Time. So please come watch us live. You can interact with us in chat and just have a really great time as crazy things happen. Otherwise, that's all for me today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys in probably tomorrow for another video on my personal channel on YouTube. All right? Bye-bye!
Yes.